episode number 3.
Cool.
Well, welcome. Okay, let's get started. What was it like studying in New Zealand?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I loved studying in New Zealand. I did my undergrad at the University of Waikato because I grew up in Hamilton, which is a small town or city, like south of Auckland. And I was very fortunate and I got a full scholarship to go there. And so I was like, well, if I go here and I stay at home, I'll be able to save money. I won't have to get a massive student loan. And also the university itself is a really beautiful place and the facilities are really, really nice. And my course was really small. So like my first year, maybe there were between 16 and 20 singers. That might be too much. But then by my fourth year, there were 5 of us.
Oh, wow. So really cut down.
Yeah. And I was the only guy. So because the numbers were small, I got lots of opportunities to sing and perform, which was really, I think, really, really useful. So I got lots of kind of practical experience. And I did lots of kind of choral society, like oratorio gigs and stuff and opera gigs. And I started doing work at New Zealand Opera in the chorus. And then I had some small roles and stuff as well, including in this contemporary opera about Anzacs.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's very cool. And so, yeah, it was really nice. I really enjoyed my time there. I mean, I was in Hamilton for a long time, I guess, because I started going to school there when I was 9, and then I guess I finished uni there when I was 21.
Yeah.
So it's a long time to be in Hamilton, but I had a really, really good time.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was the Anzac opera about, the contemporary one you're saying?
It was this one called Brass Poppies. The text was by Vincent O'Sullivan and the music was by Ross Harris. And it was following these 4 soldiers who, in First World War, they're in Wellington and they're about to go off and they each have their partners and their loves. And then it's kind of, once they've split paths, that the women who stayed in New Zealand and the guys who went over to Gallipoli, and just kind of following their journeys kind of side by side, and kind of exploring what the men are going through at the front, but also what the women are going through at home, and kind of waiting to hear news about what happens. And it was quite harrowing.
Yeah,
it wasn't a happy ending. But that was really cool. That was a really, really fun thing to be a part of. It was really cool.
It's interesting that they had like this parallel story going along, because I don't think a lot of people realise how hard it was for people back home.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Yeah, I mean, in any situation, if it kind of like us, I mean, it's so different. But like whenever you have to leave your family or your loved ones, it's really hard, and it's not just about the person who's left; it's about the person who stayed as well.
Yeah, they don't have the luxury of being able to have a phone call or anything like that. It's a letter that might arrive in like 6 weeks.
I know,
if you're lucky.
I mean, I think we're almost the most fortunate being over here now.
Oh, hands down.
With how easy it is to get in touch
FaceTime
with family and stuff. Yeah,
because
even when my parents lived in the UK in the 80s for a year, and trying to get in touch with home, you have to go to a phone box or something, and you have to like actually call over there, and this is like, I can send a text at whatever time I like and they'll respond, and it's very easy.
Yeah. So your parents came here in the 80s.
Yeah.
Is that what prompted your move to the UK? Is that kind of...
No, I guess my move to the UK was, I came here to do my postgrad.
Yep.
So when I had finished my undergrad and I did like another year in New Zealand, just kind of working with New Zealand Opera and doing concerts and things around. And then I moved to Berlin for a year because I thought I probably would end up in the UK. I just kind of had always liked the idea of the UK and living here. And but so I didn't want to move to the UK straight away.
Yeah.
And so my eldest brother lived in Berlin at the time, and I thought, New Zealand is really far away from everything. And I love New Zealand very much, but I felt like I needed to come over here to this side of the world and see what's going on, and especially for our industry, for the arts, for singing. And so I went to Berlin and had a difficult year there because I was very young and didn't have much money. I didn't know what I was doing. But it's really like, I am glad that I had that year. It was very, for lack of a better term, character building.
Yeah.
And then while I was there, I felt like, oh yeah, I want to look into doing postgrad.
Okay.
And so I actually I thought about it quite late, and so only ended up auditioning in London. And then I got in at Guildhall in the academy, and I thought, well, okay, I liked Guildhall a lot. I knew a lot of, there were lots of Kiwis who were already there. And so I thought, well, I guess I'll just follow this path and go here. And
do you feel like there is a connection between Guildhall and New Zealand? Is there, because you said there's a lot of Kiwis, is that just coincidence, or do you think there is a bit of a tie there?
I think that it kind of comes in waves as to where New Zealanders go. Like, I think there were a couple of years, so Yvonne Kenny, who's a Australian soprano, wonderful Australian soprano, she was a teacher at Guildhall, and she had come over to New Zealand to adjudicate the Lexa Song Quest.
Yeah.
And so then kind of through that and doing, adjudicating and masterclasses and things like that with Kiwis, I think that kind of
created a bit of a bridge.
Yeah. And then also there's the Guildhall Prize with IFAC, or there was.
Yes.
And I think there was some New Zealand singers who had won that as well, so there was a connection there.
Yeah.
And so then for a couple of years running, there were quite a few Kiwis, and then I think it moved. Then a few Kiwis went to Northern as well.
Yeah.
And then after that, quite a few people went to the States.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of comes in ways as to where people go.
Where they end up.
Yeah.
Do you think, you said that you were doing work in the chorus in New Zealand and you had opportunities there. Did you think it was necessary career-wise to move to the UK or to move to Europe? Do you feel like that's a step you had to take?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think, New Zealand is very far away. It's a very small country. We've got 5 million people. It's a very young country. Our founding document was signed in 1840.
Yeah.
So we don't have this really extensive history of arts compared to over here, for example. And so the companies and the organisations that exist in New Zealand are amazing.
Yeah.
Like New Zealand Opera, I think, do incredible work. The orchestras are amazing. There are smaller opera organisations and they're all fantastic. But there are also lots of really amazing New Zealand singers. So there are not many opportunities. You kind of get to a point. Yeah. And then you can't really go much further without exploring other opportunities or other options further afield, sadly. Yeah. Like, I think, I don't know if it is possible to be a full-time singer in New Zealand purely doing singing. Yeah. Like, you have to be open to doing work in Australia or coming over here.
Well, it is handy with the visa situations between Aussies and Kiwis that they can just come between the two and work, which makes it very good. Yeah. I think you nailed it on the head. I think it's just opportunities. Because, there is probably, if you're, like you said, happy to jump between Australia, jump between New Zealand, there's probably enough there to keep you occupied, but for a select few, not for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And I think those people who are fortunate enough to be able to do that Australian-New Zealand work really want to keep hold of it. Yeah,
exactly.
Completely understandably, because they want to have their lives. So it's, I think, difficult to break into that without maybe coming over here first and almost, I don't want to say proving yourself, but showing that you are able to do the work. Yeah. And then kind of you might get taken a bit more, looked at with a bit more favour back home. It's like, this person has gone over and done the thing.
Yeah, he's done this, this and this and this.
We like that, yeah.
He's ticked off those boxes.
Yeah.
We know he's Italian, he's going to be half decent. He lived there for 10 years. Cool. What is the differences you found in studying in New Zealand versus the UK? Is there a big difference? I know personally that my teachers at the Conservatorium in Sydney were fantastic. I had really top-notch teachers and the quality of education there is really good. However, like you said, there's not that many different influences coming in. There's not so many people coming in, whereas I found when I was studying at Northern, they had people flying in from Germany. They had people coming in from France for the weekend to give us coaching. It's like you had all these different influences coming in from all over Europe and as well as the States. I mean, at the end of the day, New York's only, a 9-hour flight? Yeah. Which is nothing for us Aussies and Kiwis.
No, it's easy peasy, whatever. Well, I would say one of the main difference is quantity almost. And like, similar for me, at my uni, we had really great teachers, but we had maybe 3. And we didn't really have coaches, or we didn't really study language. You can take language as an elective, but it's not kind of like part of your course.
When you say that, do you mean diction, or do you mean like actual language courses?
So I studied German as a language, but we didn't really have diction courses or repertoire courses or classes or anything like that. It was very... well, I suppose my undergrad was it technically an academic degree. So I had to do like history of music papers, and like composition and harmony and counterpoint and that kind of stuff. And there were performance aspects, like we did operas, we did like voice class every week kind of thing. But then over here, the number of teachers that were available, the number of coaches that were available, we had, there was, English, but also like French and German and Italian class, or like a rep class every week if you wanted to go. So, I don't know, there were just so many options in a way.
Yeah, I understand what you're trying to say. The, just like you said, the different influences and the different voices, you were just opened up to a whole new market being over here, and that's something I think I can totally relate to.
But I think also it is, I don't know if you found this, but quite overwhelming.
It can be, like, because you go from having these really awesome figures, like, I don't know what the study was like for you, but it was a 4-year degree for the bachelor.
Same.
And you have these really great people who are there supportive the whole way through, and they watch you grow. And with that comes a little bit of nurturing, I think, as well. And it's more than just it can be more than just like a teacher-student relationship. You kind of develop it with someone for 4 years. You develop a good kind of kinship there. Whereas here, it's a bit more of a revolving door. Like in, out, next, come through, do this,
Definitely.
change this. But yeah, that's how I found it. Anyway. You said you face, when you moved to Germany, it was a bit of a character building year. What are some challenges that you found moving abroad? Besides the visas, don't get me started on them.
I think the biggest thing is just like being really far away is really hard. And like being away from your friends and your family and your home. I think like British singers who I know many and am engaged to one, who have grown up in the UK and done their undergrad in the UK and done postgrad in the UK and kind of stayed and are working in the UK. I think people don't understand how difficult it is to be away from home. And I mean, for a couple of weeks, 6 weeks, it's really hard, but for a long period of time. And I think even we're constantly told that we should be looking to Germany for work and for young artist programs and things. And I remember I did an audition in Stuttgart, and I remember talking to one of my friends who was auditioning at the time. And he was saying, I'm not really sure if I actually want to leave the UK. I said, and I was saying, well, do you want to be with your friends and your family and your home? And he was like, yeah. Because being on the side of, being away from home, no matter how far really, but it kind of, when it's as far as it is for us, and it makes things way more difficult, like trying to get home for emergencies or something like that, or even trying to stay in contact, like it is, like WhatsApp and things like that are great, but the time difference for me at the moment is 13 hours. So like trying to talk to my mum or my brother or something, it's like, I have to really schedule in when I do this. I can't just pick up. And when I moved to Berlin, a lot of my brother's friends were from the UK, and they were talking about, I was really homesick, the first couple of months. I thought I was going to have to move back because I just couldn't hack it. But I managed to, and I'm really glad that I did. But a lot of their friends would be like, I think I'm just going to pop home for the weekend, or just going to go home for Christmas for a couple of days. And I was just like, we're just living in completely different worlds. Like, I can't even think about that as a possibility, you know?
Yeah, it's not a cheap ticket
No.
for the weekend.
But also, it would take me 24 hours to get there.
Yeah, and you lose a day going
I'd lose a day,
there.
and then I just have to turn around and come back. Like,
That's
Yeah.
funny. So what advice would you give to someone who's considering moving abroad to pursue singing or come to study in the UK?
I wouldn't discourage it. I mean, I'm really glad that it's something that I've done. I would say, as soon as you can, just try and find or like create a support network around you. I mean, definitely stay in touch with people back at home. Try and stay in touch as much as you can, but create that support network of people that you're studying with or living with or performing with, so that you have people there for you.
Yeah.
And people that you can kind of just go to for
Yeah.
anything.
I think you and you might have a similar experience. I don't want to speak for you, but I found going into a university kind of was really helpful for
Huge.
Because I have friends that have moved over, and those first 6 months, to 12 months, is just a nightmare if you don't have regular people to see in. And it's different between, like, I feel like colleagues at a college or a university are different to colleagues at work, if you know what I mean. Like, you could be working a part-time job somewhere, but they're not really your friends, your workmates rather than
mates, I suppose.
But I do feel like, because you're interested in similar things, you're on the same kind of path, same journey. It's easier to bond.
Yeah.
Versus
going through the same traumas together.
Yeah, exactly. We both had that terrible coaching.
Exactly. I mean, but that was one of the things I found really difficult about living in Berlin, is that I was really lucky. I mean, the reason I moved there was because my brother was there. And so I was really lucky that I had that key person that I could hold on to.
Yeah.
But the first 5 months I was there, I didn't have a job.
Yeah.
And so that's, I ran out of money. I went to language school, which was really useful. But then, those first 4-5 months, and also when you're from outside of the world, you're not used to a European winter.
No.
And especially a winter in Berlin, it's grey, it's cold, it's grim.
Yeah.
And I was just like, far out, this is something else, like even back home in winter, it might be 10, 13 degrees and it's sunny and it's like it's a bit of a chill.
Yeah.
But there was a time in Berlin, it was like minus 13 and it was so cold and snowing. I was like, what am I doing here? But then after about 5 months, I got a job working in a bagel shop, and I was also teaching piano part-time. And from then, since I had kind of my own friends, because I had my brother and I had his friends, but I always felt like they were his friends, and they were really nice and accepting, but I had like my own people, and it just like changed my life, like having these people around me that I could go hang out with.
It was just about building that network, like you said, like that community around you of people you feel comfortable with. How have you navigated being out of university? Like, how long have you been out now?
Well, I've technically been out of training for only 1 year.
Oh wow! How have you navigated that 1 year?
How have I navigated it? I would say with moderate success. I don't know. I mean, so I've been here for about 7 years now.
Yeah.
So I was in training for 6 years because I did 5 years at Guildhall and then a year at the opera studio. And I think I was definitely ready to be in the world, kind of as terrifying as it was. But I think kind of the more time you're able to invest in the career, not necessarily studying or training, but kind of just committing yourself to doing the thing, the more opportunities kind of come your way, the more people know who you are, so they might offer you stuff, or you've heard about something, so you'll apply for something. And you're just kind of able to build on that, I think. Like, I think one of the most important things in this career is just persistence. Like, I think if you, within reason, but I think if you're able to just kind of keep going, things will kind of happen if you're like, a hard worker and you're happy to do the work,
and a good colleague.
Standard and a good colleague, exactly. Rather than just kind of floating through, you have to work for it. But I think if you do keep working, the rewards will be there. So hopefully stuff kind of just keeps on coming,
Well, it seems to me, as an outsider looking in, like we've only met at the start of this week here at Glumble, and it's been fun getting to know you, that you've developed a really good base. Like
kind of.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of surprised me a little bit, like I get recommended for things and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I guess great. I don't know.
Well, as an outsider looking in, like I said, it's very cool. And how do you think you've accidentally happened upon that? like you say,
I don't know. Like, I think there are things that there are opportunities that I'm passionate about pursuing, and so I will kind of give my all to pursue them. There's a really incredible program called the Britain Peers Young Artist Program. That's based in Aldeburgh, and I think I must have applied for it 5 times or something, but I really, really wanted to go because I love Aldeburgh. I think Britain's amazing, and the environment that both Britain and Peers have created in Aldeburgh and at Snape Maltings is just amazing. And then I finally got selected as a young artist in 2023, and then it was for English song, which I love English song. And so we were there for the week, and I was doing this thing that I love in this incredible environment, and then from there was asked to then sing in the festival the next year, do a recital, and then they were doing a production of Curly River by Britain as well. Okay. I was one of the monks in that. And then from there, the flautist who was playing in the ensemble then randomly recommended me for a gig which I'm rehearsing now, and it's like, oh, sometimes if you just do the work well and you're a good colleague, like you say, hopefully things just kind of flow on and keep happening.
So if you were going to give advice to someone who was coming to the UK to study and they wanted to try and build a base, that'd be your kind of key thing. Just be a good colleague, turn up, throw your hat at everything you can.
I think
go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, give everything a shot. I would say be open to trying anything. Don't try to. Well, I was going to say, we're often told as singers that we have to find the thing that makes us unique. Right? Yeah. Like, what's our USP?
Yeah.
Why is someone?
What makes you stand out?
Why is someone going to hire us over someone else? And I think often we think we have to find something uber specific and kind of stick to that and not have much flexibility. So maybe someone, thinks they're going to be a Verdi baritone, for example. And so they're like, well, I kind of only have to stick to this repertoire.
Yeah.
But I would say the best thing is to, keep an open mind, because that's how you're able to take opportunities, because something random will come your way. And if you're open to trying something, then you'll be able to do that. So I think if you're open mind, open to opportunities, work really hard, and be a great colleague. It's kind of hopefully the 3 main things that will help you kind of
put you in good stead.
Yeah.
Well, is there any performances that you've done in the UK that have kind of stood out to you? Like anything that you've performed in, or a venue that you performed in? Because I know you sang at Wigmore Hall.
Yeah. Well, so last year I did the Wigmore Hall song competition, and I got through to the final, and I got 3rd place, which was unreal. And so I got to sing. Each round is in the hall, and it's just. I mean, I used to work there as an usher when I first moved here, and so I have a lot of experience in the hall. Yeah. But actually being on the stage and being able to sing in this incredible acoustic, you can just do you can do whatever you want. You can be as quiet as you like, and just that's probably the most magical experience I've had.
That's kind of full circle. I started as an usher, and now I'm performing on the stage.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you find that this Wigmore Hall as a space, you said that you can do anything in it. Is it a forgiving space? Or are you quite on show? Because I'd imagine you would be quite on show.
I think, so you can do anything, but therefore anything you do can be heard. So I'd say any kind of, I guess it encourages you to take risks in a way. And you can maybe do things, you can do sounds and effects that you might not be able to get away with. In another place, but so you can be brave, but you have to have the technique, I suppose, to back up the bravery.
Do you enjoy exploring that? Because watching you on stage here at Glyndebourne, you're got a big, beautiful voice, and it carries very well. Do you enjoy playing with the softer side of it and just messing with dynamics and especially?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's one of the things you can explore more in song, I think. Because you don't have an orchestra to get over, and you're not trying to fill a massive space. So you are able to have more colours to paint with. You can be really, really expressive. You can be, I mean, the most I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking generally here. The most exciting and beautiful singing, I think, is the really quiet singing. You know, the singing that kind of puts you on the edge of your seat, that draws you as a listener in. And so being able to play with all those things, I think, is really exciting.
Yeah.
But I do still think you can play with that in opera. I think there are lots of people who think you kind of are an opera singer or you're a song singer. But I think they both really help each other out. Like, I think if you bring the kind of the theatre and the performance aspect of opera into song, and you bring the kind of musicality and creativity of song into opera, both things can just kind of be so much better, I think.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a different approach that you take to singing opera versus song? Do you approach them the same way? Do you start with the text? Or do you come at it from a different angle?
That's a good question. I suppose technically I'm coming at both of them from the text.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing that we have over other instruments. Those are the stories that we're trying to tell through our singing. So, I mean, it depends how quickly I'm having to learn something. I might
that does play into
absolutely smashing it all at once. But I definitely, I always write out my texts and try to make sense of them myself in song or in opera. I suppose with opera as well, but more with song, because I play the piano as well.
Yeah.
I explore what the piano part is doing and how the duet between the piano and the voice is working and where the harmony is coming from, where I'm fitting into the harmony.
That's cool.
Where I'm getting my note from, you know, is it clashing, is it not clashing? I really love that part of song preparation as well. And I mean, the same happens in opera as well. Although some of the scores I can't play.
Yeah.
They're a bit too complicated.
There's no shame in that. I think I found middle C in COVID, so
that's a good start. That's the best place to start.
That's cool. Is there any rep that you really want to sink your teeth into in the future?
Ooh. In opera?
Not just opera. Like, is there any song cycles that you're really interested in? At the moment, I'm trying to get my head around Mahler's Songs of a Wayfarer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I've been bashing my head at that for a while.
Yeah, I was looking through some Mahler recently, and it's big stuff, but it's also really amazing stuff.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
You know, it's some of it is really beautiful, but all of the songs are like 5 to 7 minutes long. You know, it's kind of like, okay, I mean, he kind of deserves it though. Like, I don't think there's really a wasted moment in his songs, even though I usually would prefer brevity in music. There's something about his songs. But in terms of like a song cycle I really want to do, I definitely want to do more French. I would love to do, I mean, this is not French, I would love to do like a Die Schöne Müllerin, because I've never done that before in the music. I mean, Schubert is amazing. I mean, there's so much German repertoire that I love. I don't know. I don't have like a specific thing. I just have loads of strands that I would love to just
bring together.
Yeah.
Well, you've got some cool stuff coming up, don't you? You're doing the 8 songs for a Mad King. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is a piece that actually this is kind of what I almost wanted to say in answer to it's something I've wanted to work on for a long time.
Yeah.
And so it's this piece by Peter Maxwell Davis that is based on the kind of descent and life with madness that King George III had. And it's with this ensemble. It's a violin, cello, clarinet, flute, piano/harpsichord, and then about 20 percussion instruments, including a didgeridoo.
Wow.
And it's really, the first time I ever heard about it was because in the 7th song, the king takes the violin from the violinist and smashes it.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is this crazy piece where the person gets to smash a violin, and how do they make that work financially and also physically? And then I had coaching last year with Hilary Summers, who's a wonderful contemporary mezzo, and she suggested that I look at it. And so I was able to find a copy of the score, and I looked through it, and I was like, I don't even know what's going on here. Like,
because it covers 4 octaves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of non-singing singing. If you
there's
know what I mean.
loads of. I mean, there's not much. There isn't much notated singing.
Yeah.
There's lots of noise notation. So there's one bit where it's shrieking as high and loudly as possible.
Okay.
And then there's loads of kind of like breath work, loads of harmonic work, kind of vocal fry, shouting, screaming, but then also is juxtaposed with this quite lyrical, very beautiful, kind of quite tonal music.
Yeah.
And I think it's about this juxtaposition of the angular atonal and really kind of extended techniques with this really beautiful lyrical tonal music, and, you know, representing these different states that he's going through and experiencing.
Yeah. How have you found doing that whilst doing other gigs, because you've still been singing your role here at Glyndebourne, whilst trying to maintain vocal health? I imagine that'd be quite difficult to try and portray the character of George, like you said, in a light that you want to, and achieve everything there, and then just take that hat off and put the I'm the sergeant again hat back on and go sing this nice, beautiful line.
I think when I was experimenting and playing around with the Mad King, I perhaps pushed my voice. I kind of was seeing where the edges were, and so I was pushing my voice into places that I then realised I couldn't really go. And they sometimes were in the breaks of this, of Barber. I would go into the studio and be like, okay, I'm just going to mess around a bit. I guess the key thing is when I'm doing, like I had a run of it this morning, just making sure that I feel like I have found the edges now, so I know what to do to survive it, get through it, and also still be able to speak and sing at the end of it. But also just loads of water.
Staying hydrated.
Steaming, nebulizing, you know, that kind of thing.
So you're a big fan of the nebulizer?
Love a nebulizer.
Do you travel with one of the masks?
I do have the mask in my bag.
Okay.
But I don't know, I've got quite a big face. So it kind of like goes there. And
it doesn't quite fit.
So I just don't mind, you know, using it normally.
Because I know some singers that swear by it, and if they're taking a plane trip, they'll always have the nebulizer on.
Oh, yeah.
The whole flight.
You can also get those, what are they called, humidifiers? And they just have these little filters in the bottom of them that they recycle the moisture from your air.
Okay.
But I don't know, that seems a bit...
Sounds like some Dune stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but back on the maintaining that vocal health, lack of a better word. I often found that when I'm doing stuff that's probably on the edge, like you were just saying, that I don't see the cracks until a day or two later. Did you have a similar experience, or did you know on the day that, that was too much of a scream? Or?
Yeah, I think they were pretty apparent in the moment. Yeah, I mean, definitely if there's like a pain element involved, that's where it's like, I have definitely pushed this too far. But sometimes, I mean, I haven't noticed it. I was thinking about it today, like how I'm managing to get through this really kind of full-on thing. Whereas like compared to if I had gone to, I don't know, watch the All Blacks play in New Zealand, which I did do, and you're like screaming along.
Well, that's a rite of passage, isn't
it? Yeah. Then the next day or the day after that, then my voice would be screwed. But I haven't, you know, touch wood, found that to have happened yet.
Yeah.
I mean, talk to me on Saturday after I've done the show, you know.
Did your teacher help you with that? You said your teacher a year and a half ago showed you the music. Have you workshopped anything?
So actually, I did have a session with Hilary. So she's never sung the piece before because she thinks that it should be sung by a male voice, which is what it was written for originally.
Yep.
But she has coached it a number of times, and it's just it was nice to kind of. I mean, there are some really amazing recordings out there, but it was nice to talk with her to be like, do you think I'm interpreting this crazy symbol correctly?
Yeah.
What is like a safer way to do it? What do I do here for like the effect and all that thing? And so that was definitely really useful.
Okay, cool.
Her, yeah.
And how have you found trying to portray a character like that? Do you think is it something that comes easy to you, just putting those kinds of hats on and playing with different characters?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about opera is the performance aspect and the character aspect of it. And I usually prefer to play characters that have more beneath the surface, like either they're villains, which I don't get to play really villains, but or there's something else going on. Because I'm not very, my character isn't very dark, like day to day. I, for some reason, then like exploring that through character, and so exploring what George is going through in this, and like these quick, rapid changes, I'm finding really interesting and really exciting. And especially trying to do it in a way that is like genuine and honest, and not making fun of him or anyone with mental illness at all. Trying to be really sympathetic and understanding.
Well, you're just trying to portray the character. Keep it integral to what your vision is for that character and what he was going through.
But I think there can be the temptation in doing this kind of repertoire that is pushing the boundary to be really almost silly with it. But I think especially in this instance, I mean, there will be instances where that is called for in music. But in this instance, I think it's so serious and so genuine. So trying to approach it from that way.
That's cool. Yeah, I had a similar experience. I was performing Nero in the Coronation of Poppea, a very similar kind of unhinged character. And it is fun just exploring what do you think that character would do in this situation and things like that. And you can take inspiration from movies. You can take inspirations from history. You can take it from everywhere. And it is cool thinking, okay, how do I portray that now? And how do I go about portraying that in the correct light, like you're saying? Are there any other characters that you've really enjoyed portraying? I know that you've done a lot on your website in regards to Mozart and also a bit of Rossini.
Yeah. I mean, I loved doing Papageno.
Okay.
Papageno was always a dream role, and then I did it last year at Neville Holt, which was really cool. And he's really interesting because he's not a straightforward character at all. He's really strange, and he's going through a lot. And he really if I can say this, compared to Tamino and Pamina, he goes through massive like emotional swings. Like he's really scared, or he's gonna kill himself, or he's really in love.
He really wants to live, and then he's
like
looking at a tree.
He's going through so much. And that was also another one where it's like he's really pushing the boundaries. He's kind of the everyman character that the audience is kind of relating to, because Tamino and Pamina are, how can you relate to them? They're so weird. But Papageno's just like a guy, and he's really experiencing the edges of emotion. And so that was really cool to explore those edges as well. But then I did also do a production of Barbara Seville as Figaro, and that was really fun, because he is just a really fun guy. And so that was really nice that I got to just be really silly, have like complete permission to be really silly on stage, and also have the best time. Well,
with you'd probably done most of the roles in.
Well, I think I'm slowly collecting them. I've done the Ufficiale, I've done Fiorello, and I've done Figaro. So now I just need to do Bartolo. And Basilio. Which I think maybe won't happen, but I'll slowly make my way through them.
It might take a packet of cigarettes.
Exactly. A couple of bottles of whiskey or something.
To get through it. Well, that's all the questions I wanted to cover, but thank you for coming on. It's been really fun.
My pleasure.
So you've got the performance of the 8 songs for Making. When's that coming?
Yes, that is this Friday, the 20th of June.
Okay, cool.
In High Barnet at 8 p.m.
Perfect. Well, I'll put a link on the
YouTube
link.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.